Wow, that's a good question they asked today. Let me ask the same question of you guys today. Who here thinks that they could stand in the presence of the Lord? Anybody? Raise your hand. You're just crazy enough to know that. I'd give it a shot. You know, even Moses came to the Lord's holy mountain. The first thing God said was, "Hold up there, big fella. Lose the shoes. You're on sacred ground now. You play by my rules if you want to talk to me." And He is the God. He created all the earth and everything therein, and everyone therein. We are literally His, and it would only make sense that if you truly want to bring yourself into the presence of God, we don't just walk in and say, "Hey there, big man, let me hold $1." We come in with reverence and respect, with hearts and minds that have been prepared. Do you know in the ancient days of Israel on Yom Kippur, the one day a year when the high priest was chosen and he would go into the Holy of Holies and bring the blood of the lamb sacrifice and put it on the four horns of the altar and ask for forgiveness for the people's sins? One day a year. He prepared himself for 7 days in the rituals of washing and bathing and cleansing and ashes and oil and everything. And on the 8th day of Yom Kippur, everything he had done once for 7 days, he had to do 7 times on the 8th day before he was allowed to enter the presence of God. And he came humbly and quietly and reverently before God. No one could go in there to help him if he got in trouble. No one could go in there even to bring the body out, because God said nobody comes in here except my appointed priest once a year. Anybody else, you will die. They used to tie a rope around the high priest. So when he went in to make his sacrifices, should he do something wrong or get cocky and the Lord strike him down, well, they couldn't go in and get the body out for a year. So they tied a rope around him. And if he didn't come out after a while, at least they could drag his body out. You go, "Tom, that's ridiculous." No, that's what they did. Too often today, especially in Christianity, we come before the Lord. We don't come humbly, respectfully. We come jumping, screaming, complaining, fussing about everything I ain't got. If we come at all. We're making so much noise, the Spirit of God can't even whisper to us. So David asked the question. Now, he was a good sinner, you know. He went up on the roof one day and got an eye full of Bathsheba taking a shower over at the next rooftop. And like Jim Croce saying, "Ooh, that girl looked nice." Well, that's where the trouble began. And before you know it, David committed all manner of horrible sin before the Lord. From not just adultery, but even unto murder of her husband. And Nathan the prophet came in and said, "Oh my goodness, you are in a world of hurt." So David was an expert at asking forgiveness. And he finally said, "You may be a king," the prophet. "You may be a king. But in God's eyes, you're just a little nothing. You may lord yourself over Israel, but in God's eyes, He's disgusted with you." And David learned a great lesson. You don't walk in and just tell God, "Hey, I'm here, what's up?" When Jesus heralded men who approached God, it was a sinner in the back of a church who wouldn't even lift his eyes to heaven and simply begged, "Lord, have mercy upon me, a sinner." When Jesus heralded men being forgiven of God, one was nailed to a cross. He had no means of pretense there. "Yeah, I'm a great guy." Why were you nailed to a cross then? No, he just lowered his head and said, "If there's any chance, remember me." And when Moses wanted to talk to God, you know what he did? He lost the eyes odds. Take off your shoes. And he threw himself to his knees and he bowed his head to the ground. And the Lord met him and spoke with him. Sometimes we just seem to forget who it is we're worshiping because we've replaced the statutes, the magnificence, the holiness, the eternity of God for a bunch of stupid rules that we ourselves have come up with. And they came to Jesus, the Son of God, the skilled, trained priests of the day, and said, "Why aren't your boys washing their hands in their pots?" And Jesus said, Isaiah prophesied correctly about you people. You hypocrites. You concern yourself with these simple, stupid little dietary laws. And you teach people that this is the law of God. It's not the law of God. It's the precepts of men. Like David learned the hard way. Who can stand before the Lord? Who? And the Lord gave him an answer. He who is with clean hands and a pure heart. We're going to take a look at that today. What in the world does that mean? Clean hands and a pure heart. I don't think it has anything to do with washing the fingers. First, I want you to stand one more time.